She blocked you everywhere. Do this and she'll stalk your new life. Good. Let her. Today the story flips. You begged on iMessage, sent that long paragraph at 2 a.m., got left on read. Instagram? Unfollowed, muted, blocked. Then you watched a friend's story and saw her at a Lakers game with some new guy. Mutuals stopped inviting you out. You opened Snapchat and the streak died. You felt it. The sting, the humiliation, the loss of respect. Not just hers, yours. Enough. You don't chase what disrespects you. You build a life it can't ignore. In this video, I'm going to give you the frame, the protocol, and the discipline to turn quiet into gravity. Real no contact. Done right. Purpose over panic. The gym, the grind, sleep locked in, bank account growing, wardrobe cleaned up, shoulders back. A new circle. Real friends, real habits. Not petty games, not revenge. Strategic indifference. When your life expands, curiosity does the heavy lifting. She'll hear your name at brunch in Soho, see your reflection in a tagged post from Austin, or scroll into you by accident on TikTok. That's not magic. That's consequence. Subscribe now. Hit that button, because men who win don't rely on luck. They rely on systems. And check the first pinned comment. I left a free 90-day post-breakup protocol to go deeper, step by step, with scripts and a weekly checklist so you don't slip. We start with the first 72 hours. How to stop the bleeding, regain your center, and make one decisive move that resets the power dynamic without saying a word. But hear me. There's one mistake most guys make tonight that kills their leverage for months. Are you about to make it? Or are you ready to sit in silence like a man and let the world come to you? That mistake? It's the midnight reach for validation. The ping you think will heal you and only bleeds you out. You write, you delete, you write again. You imagine the perfect line that will pull her back like a tide. Don't do it. Tonight belongs to silence, not the silence of a boy sulking, the silence of a man calculating. You do not throw your crown at a locked door. You do not negotiate with a mute screen. You sit in the dark, breathe, and let your pulse slow. Power returns when noise dies. You know the spiral. You open her Instagram from a burner. You scan the comments. You watch a story through a friend's phone, pretending you don't care while your stomach twists. You visit the places she likes, Silver Lake coffee shops, West Village brunch spots, hoping to accidentally collide. You ask mutuals how she's doing. You send that just checking on you text after 2 bourbons from a bar on 3rd Street, and then you wake up with a hangover and a screenshot of your own desperation. You offer friendship like a consolation prize and call it maturity. Stop lying to yourself. These are not gestures of love. These are withdrawals from your dignity account. The man who stalks loses the frame. The man who begs hands over his spine. The man who drunk texts writes his own obituary. The man who tries to be her friend volunteers for the front row seat to her new life while she erases the memory of yours. You don't add value by being available on demand. You don't become irresistible by being predictable. You don't create mystery by narrating your pain. So you cut every pipeline that feeds the addiction. You turn off story views. You mute mutuals who stir the wound. You delete threads you reread like scripture. You put the phone in another room and sleep. Tomorrow is structure. Tomorrow is weight on your back and miles on your shoes. Tomorrow is the calendar you can control. But pause. There's something you haven't admitted. Why do you want to peak? Why do you want to chase? Because your life shrank around her. When a woman leaves, she takes the soundtrack with her. Your job is to compose a new one, not with noise, but with signal. There was a guy from Columbus, Daniel. Ordinary job, ordinary apartment, extraordinary collapse when she left. He did everything wrong in the first week. Watched her Venmo public payments, pieced together nights out from tagged bars in the short north, sent 3 paragraphs at 1:47 a.m. that read like a confessional. She replied once, "Please stop." That should have been the end. It wasn't. He bumped into her outside a Trader Joe's and pitched the friendship he hoped would be a bridge back to romance. She smiled with pity. He went home and stared at himself until the pity turned to anger. Real anger, the useful kind. He found the protocol, printed it, and taped it to his mirror. Day 1, he deleted every photo, exported and archived them out of sight. Day 2, he moved his alarm to 5:30 a.m. and joined a gym on a month-to-month. He wasn't trying to become a fitness model, he was trying to become a man with momentum. The weights didn't care about his breakup, the treadmill didn't respond to his texts. He put on 10 pounds of muscle in 3 months, but more importantly, he put on a spine. He started cooking at home, crushed his Uber Eats habit, cleaned up his haircut and his shoes. He bought clothes that actually fit rather than hiding in hoodies. At work, he stopped volunteering for every extra task just to feel needed and started focusing on leverage. Learned one software that made him impossible to ignore. He wasn't flashy, he was steady. On day 21, he wanted to check her profile. He didn't. On day 30, he got invited to a rooftop in the short north, and for the first time he said yes without thinking about who might see him. A friend snapped a photo, golden hour, jawline like a decision. It landed on someone's story who tagged a DJ in Austin. The algorithm did what it does. On day 63, her friend viewed his story from an alt. On day 75, a mutual texted, "Saw you at that new spot. You look different." He was different. He had range again, Sundays at church, Tuesdays at jiu-jitsu. Saturdays he drove out to Hocking Hills, phone on airplane mode. He didn't post any of it with thirst, he lived it. And then it happened. Autumn game day, Buckeyes playing, bar full. He's laughing, genuinely, not performing. When a notification lands, new follower request, private account, familiar initials. He doesn't open it. He pockets the phone and lets the moment breathe. In that pause, he becomes larger than the past. She's now the observer. He's the orbit. That's not a trick. That's a life rebuilt brick by brick until curiosity has no choice but to knock. You want that. Understand this. You cannot outrun humiliation by running toward it. You cannot drink your way into composure. You cannot text your way into respect. Composure is earned at 5 a.m. when nobody watches. Respect is earned every afternoon you delay dopamine and deliver results. Attraction is a dividend paid to the consistent. Listen carefully. In America, noise is cheap. Every app screams, every group chat buzzes, every opinion is for sale. Your edge is scarcity. You speak less, you do more, you show receipts, not pleas. You walk into a room, Brooklyn Loft or Dallas Steakhouse, and people feel the difference because you built it when no one was applauding. Code matters. So write this into your bones. Silence over access, presence over persuasion. Build over beg, withdraw with dignity, return with proof. When the urge hits to check her TikTok at 1 a.m., you get up and add one brick to your world. One chapter read, one cold shower, one set of push-ups, one line item in your budget tightened. You think that's small compounded, that is inevitability. In 90 days, you won't recognize the man who thought a paragraph could fix what his posture couldn't. And what about the friend angle? Americans love the performance of maturity. Let's be civil, let's be cool, let's grab coffee in Echo Park and catch up. It sounds adult. It's not. Not when your heart still bargains. Friendship at this stage is a leash you put on yourself and hand to her. You're not a Labrador waiting at the door. You are your own house, your own key, your own rules. You do not offer access you cannot manage. You do not volunteer for pain you could avoid. If the bottle calls, remember, alcohol turns kings into jesters. 2 Manhattans and your thumbs become liabilities. The phone amplifies your worst moment, preserves it, forwards it. You think she'll read between the lines and hear love. She reads the lines and hears weakness. Let the bourbon sit, sip water, go home, sleep. Wake up better than you were before the urge. Here's the twist you didn't expect. She doesn't come back to apologies. She comes back to gravity. Not the fake kind. Rented cars, rented chains, staged flexes in Miami. The quiet kind, bank account with runway, friends who would help you move at midnight, a body that tells the truth under a t-shirt, a calendar that includes nobody's name who disrespects you. That's the life that stalks her dreams. That's the life that other women notice without you saying a word. And because you asked for laws, consider these not suggestions but steel. No contact is not a tactic, it is a sanctuary. Protect your name, never argue in public or in text. Train the body to train the mind. Build assets daily, delay pleasure, advance position. Never negotiate attraction, withdraw presence, increase value. Read them again, let them land. Which one scares you? Good. That's where you're soft. That's where you start. You might wonder, what if she reaches out? What if she watches all my stories from a burner, likes an old photo, sends a "how have you been" on a Sunday afternoon when the sky is soft and your guard is lower? Do you answer? Do you ignore? Do you invite? The wrong man takes the bait. The right man consults his code. What did you build these last 60 days for? To be yanked by nostalgia or to choose based on standards you wrote sober and alone? Another reset. Why do you want her attention? To prove you weren't the problem or to dodge the work you still owe yourself? Be honest, note it, then go back to the program. The gym isn't going anywhere. Your savings account still wants deposits. Your circle still needs upgrading. Fewer complainers, more executors, fewer nights you can't remember, more mornings you're proud of. Picture this. A year from now, you're in Austin for a conference. You walk into a coffee spot on South Congress, and a woman at the counter smiles. You don't perform. You don't chase. You order black coffee, tip well, shoulders back. Your life speaks for you. Whether the past sees it or not doesn't matter. You're not acting to be seen. You're acting because this is who you are now. And if she does see it, if brunch in Soho turns your name into a rumor again, if a friend of a friend mentions your promotion, your hike up in Yosemite, your discipline, let it roll. Don't gloat. Don't post a subtweet. Don't feed the theater. Maintain distance. Respect the journey. Remember the pain that taught you to respect yourself. We're not done, not even close, because the move that resets the power dynamic without a word needs precision. The script you'll follow when curiosity taps your shoulder needs clarity. The timing of your re-entry, if any, needs a judge, not a jury. In the conclusion, we put the gavel down. We'll decide the exact message to send or why you send none at all, the threshold she must meet, and the telltale signs you're about to sabotage months of work. Hold your line, the sentence is coming. You want the sentence? Here it is. You do not reach back until you can look at your own reflection and know without a tremor that you would walk away again, twice as fast and twice as far, if respect ever leaves the room. That's the gravity you built these past months. Not noise, not performance, reality. Daniel from Columbus only saw traction when he stopped being haunted by the need for closure and started living in a way that closed every old door by default. That's the protocol. That's the code. That's your only ticket back to dignity. The final concept is sovereignty, because in America, everything around you will try to lease your attention to girlfriends, to apps, to booze, to the story you keep rewriting at 2 in the morning just for a little comfort. But sovereignty means you call back all the pieces of yourself you shipped out in desperation. You stop outsourcing your validation. You become, quietly and thoroughly, your own man again. You don't reward anyone who blocked you by making them your center. Your laws carved in American stone and paid for in post-breakup sweat are these. You never chase what flees respect. You never explain to a wall, especially not an ex's silence. You never pour emotion into a digital void hoping some ghost from the past decides to fill it up. You never negotiate your value with a woman who made you an afterthought. You never make your next life a billboard for your last mistake. Let's get it even simpler. Silence is sacred. Dignity is leverage. Consistency builds gravity. Absence is the ultimate message. Presence, once earned, needs no introduction. You wanted to know what to do when every door shuts and she blocks you on every platform. You build a life that's invitation only. No open tabs, no just checking in, no nostalgia traps disguised as friendship. You mute, you block, you archive, not out of bitterness but because champions protect peace. Men who win don't crowd their calendar with reruns. Look in the mirror tonight. Really look. Do you like the posture, the circles under your eyes, the habits piling up? Are you proud of the way you move, or are you waiting for someone's return to give your days meaning again? Because here's the provocation you can't dodge. If she stalks your new life, will there even be something to envy? Or are you still talking about starting while another week slides by in DMs and cheap texts? Be the man you'd envy. Be your own cold, hard evidence. You think the friend request means you're back in the game. Make her, and the world, work for every answer. She can watch, she can wonder, she can replay the highlight reel all she wants, but you do not fold. Not for a wave, not for nostalgia, not for empty words on a boring Sunday. Leverage doesn't beg for attention. It gets circled in hushed tones when your name comes up at American brunch tables, and nobody quite knows what you're building, only that it looks unbothered, undefeated, untouchable. Always remember, men who are remembered don't return to old drama. They use pain as capital, turn silence into assets, and never spend validation on people who left them on read. Anyone can get blocked. Few ever become the reason someone stalks a future they can't enter. Do not let yourself down. Drop a comment if you're starting today. Smash the like if you're cutting access. Subscribe because you're building a foundation, not rolling dice with your heart. This channel's here for men who move with purpose, who pull the trigger on habits, who let the past watch from the cheap seats while they cash in on discipline. Say it out loud, I am my own center. Last word from the top, and this is the law. You either become a lesson or you become the standard. In this house, we do not beg.